What is going on? Welcome to Winning Life Wednesday, a podcast that has conversations with business owners of all shapes and sizes to tell you what they do, share their journey on how they win in life and in business. And I am excited tonight because we have a great guest. He's one of my very close friends here in the green industry. He's from Wisconsin. He used to be affectionately known as Ranger Rick. We'll figure out why he was called Ranger Rick then. But my homie Rick Schafer of CR Lawns up in Wisconsin is going to come past the show to share his journey with you. He is a solo entrepreneur who did over 100K this year solo. So we'll get some more accurate numbers when he gets on the show. But each week I like to come to you, and this is the first one of the new year, with a business owner, whether they have $1 million business or a $20,000 business, but someone who is winning in life. It ain't all about having $1 million business and 1,000 employees, or sometimes it's just about what do you feel is a win in your life. And I know my man Rick feels a lot like how I do. Is one of the biggest wins of our lives is just having the freedom to call our own shots. And so I'm excited to have my boy Rick on here because his aunt gave him a fire quote. We'll give that to you at the end of the show, but it's going to be dope. uh, Before we get to that, though, we got my man Carter Verdrodi in the building, Sincere Jacobs, first, fourth Gen in the building, Brightstone Lawns, Max Mowing, who's in here in Pennsylvania. I keep getting mistaken for you, my brother, but he has MAC and I'm MACK. But we got Catspaw LLC in the building, Lone Wolf Landscaping, my homie Sean from up there in Jersey, Seeds Landscaping, the LBC OG is in the building. My man Rick is already in here. We got DK Lawn Service over on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, you want to be shouted out, do me a favor, or YouTube, comment down below and let me know that you're here. I know my man Spence Crisco is here. Loke Dog is in the building. We got Van Green in the building. But yeah, like I was saying, my man Rick, he is from Wisconsin. He started his business a few years ago. We'll get all of that information from him, from the horse's mouth himself. But he is a Belgian horse in the industry, and he is someone that I have locked arms with, as well as some other people, to go out here and win in life. And so, without further ado, let me bring my boy Rick on so we could hear his story. What's going on with you, Rick? You're on mute right now.
All
There
right,
he
what's up,
is.
guys? How's it going?
What's going on with you, homie?
Hey, keeping busy running around with my head cut off, just like the
No
rest of
doubt.
us.
I remember, well, not remember, right before we got started, I see you was playing some Connect Four with your son, and I think I seen your
Yeah.
daughter
Yep.
run through there too. So I see
Yep.
you in this. You got your office set up now. You got your logo back there. We talked about that on Wednesday. But for people
Yeah.
who don't know who you are, Rick, tell everyone the name of your business. What do you specialize in? How long have you been in business? And then we'll unpack the rest as we go.
Rick Schafer, CR Lawn and Snow Maintenance. It is LLC as just CR Lawn Maintenance. That's what we had officially went to when we quit our full-time job back in 2024. We specialize in just regular lawn maintenance, mulch, hedge and shrub trimming, spring and fall cleanup. We're looking to get into the lawn treatments for this next fall spring season, but otherwise, we do snow and ice management as well, residential and commercial for everything. One of those things to where I've tried to dabble in a little bit of everything and learn from the best of them that said no, specialize in just that core group. And these are the five things that I do. So
Yeah.
that's what I take care of, and it's been working out so far. So I can't complain.
Yeah, when you're a small outfit, that's why I say stress-free lawn care. I also do stress-free snow removal, but
Yep.
it is exactly that. We don't try and take on more, than we can, and we're looking to just go out here and win in life. But Rick, you started your business a couple years ago. What did you do prior to getting into lawn care? Because I want to know uh, kind of like your background story first, and then we'll hop into business because people need to understand when we do these shows that the people that you see on the internet, the people that you see driving around your area that are in business are humans. No one is special. We're all just human beings who may be figured out a little more than someone else. But at the end of the day, we need to understand that. no matter where you are in your life, no matter what you're doing, you can start a business. And we all come from somewhere. So when someone is successful in business, uh, I like to talk to them about life. So, Rick, tell us a little bit about what you did prior to coming into the industry.
Well, I just want to put the emphasis on knowing your story and the things that your grandmother taught you growing up. I relate to that 100% because I can take it all the way back to elementary school when I started, dabbling into the things, but never thought about it as, hey, at 38 years old, that this is what we're going to be doing full time type of deal. So it definitely had a lot of lessons and everything else that played into that, and it turned out for the better. But ultimately, I was doing a full time career as a route sales rep for a uniform and linen company. I was there for about 11 years. It was a position where it basically came down to I'm I'm a lifer. I'm here for life. Uh, Never being satisfied with it though. I always knew that it was something more to it that I needed to take care of. Always wanted to do my own thing, all kinds of different little life lessons and stuff I could dabble into there as far as understanding that hustle mentality of where, a life that I used to live.
So
And
you were
then
saying, hold on, real quick. I want to let me cut you off for a second. You said you were going to be a lifer at your job.
at the W-2,
And
yep,
this is why we relate, because I swear to you, Rick, I felt the same way. My
yeah,
job didn't pay a lot, but it was super rewarding. I was helping people with
yeah,
disabilities, and so I never wanted to leave them. But I did have my own dreams that I was never going to be able to achieve at that
hmm,
place. So this is one of the reasons, man. There's so many people who are stuck at a job, and maybe they have a wife and a couple kids, and
hmm,
they don't really know. Like, this is, I can't leave this because there's so much security in this employment,
hmm,
but at the
yeah,
same time, man, you really until you invest all of your time into your dreams and your goals, you never really know what you can accomplish, and that's one of the things that you and I relate so well to. So it's crazy that the more of your story comes out, the more I'm like, yo, or mine as well, because we're like
hmm,
actual friends. So, um, or mine as well. You're like, yo, I was the same way, and that's how it was the other night
hmm.
when I asked you to come on the show. But I'm sorry for cutting you off. Continue.
No, 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 it's all good. Yeah, just jump right back off of what you were saying. It was a matter of realizing I have the four walls here at home that I got to take care of. Me and my wife got on the same page years back of like, this is why I work at this job. It's a union position. Uh, it's a YouTube title. I left a 75K a year union position to run a lawn care company. Like
This is why people need to
that,
hear. Yes.
that's what it is. Like I did my research for years. I was there for 11 years total, and I did it for years of realizing like, all right, where else could I find this insurance? Where else could I go to get some good money? Like, it's a good job. Don't get me wrong. I'm an extrovert. I love visiting, you know, how many different customers every single day to chit chat. I share life with everybody and anybody at that point. Uh, Extrovert at heart, that's bro. That's an ideal position. But yeah, it was like I said, just never being satisfied, knowing that there was something else that I could be doing. And lawn care came into play because it was something that I was always interested in, something that I always considered dabbling into. And back in 2018, me and my wife, we got married, and we uh, joined a church, started doing classes, getting ourselves plugged in there. We did Financial Peace University through that
Mm.
church. Dave Ramsey's program. It was a matter of getting Gazelle intense and just hustling, grinding. We were delivering newspapers. I was cutting lawns. I was doing Uber and Lyft. I did DoorDash and Uber Eats and Grubhub. Like I've done all kinds of stuff. There's no limits to where it's like, no, if I got to make money, I'll grind it out. Like I hustle. Like I've been doing that since I was little. Like that's just what it came down to. You know, that's a whole nother story. But that's where I started dabbling into the lawn care stuff of cutting the neighbor, cutting this neighbor, cutting that neighbor. It was literally just pushing the 21-inch mower down the street, and it came to a position to where, hey, I really like this. Let me hop onto YouTube. Let me see what I can do with this. I found Brian's Lawn Maintenance. I found the Lawn Care Success podcast, Julio Tomei, like he's had me on his
The
podcast a couple
Podfather.
times. The Podfather, so shout out to him. Like he
Yeah,
was
my
he
God.
was one of the first ones that I found, and along with a handful of others. And it was just a matter of like, all right, let me learn a little bit of this, a little bit of this. Actually, you know what? I thought about it. I was gonna have it. Give me one quick second. I will keep talking because I had my flyer. No, it ain't hanging up there. My very first flyer I did in 2017, I think it was. It was half a page. I was able Microsoft Word put it on a full page, and it legitimately said, $20 a cut. CR Mowing. That's what I started off as. CR Mowing. C was Catherine. R was Rick. My wife and me, and it was mowing. Um, and just started doing it, man. Just started getting involved with all the details of what it takes to actually do it. And 2023 really was the kind of the jump start to where I got injured off of the work site because I was at a youth weekend retreat with the student ministries. I was out of work for 5 months, had surgery on my arm, the whole 9 yards. I could still work, but because it wasn't work related, I couldn't go back to work until I was released. So then that happened the end of January. I finally had surgery in March. I was off for 5 months. Spring and summer? You're telling me you gave me off of work spring and summer? Bet. It's on. Like, all right, let's see what we can do with this business. I hustled it, got in connection with my cousin, borrowed his zero turn, borrowed his trailer. For years, I was throwing a 21-inch mower with the curve shaft string trimmer and a handheld blower in the back of my Chevy Tahoe. Third row seating. I took that stuff out, and that's what I drove around in. I did serviced many, many lawns with a Chevy Tahoe and no trailer. Like, that's the kind of hustle and grind that I was doing to try and make this thing happen.
And
And
that's
when I got
fire.
into that summer, I had that opportunity. So I borrowed the trailer, borrowed the mower. He was doing property maintenance and stuff. He's in real estate and house flipping, and he's got all kinds of other stuff going on. So I did some work for him in exchange for getting to borrow it and build my business. And then going into August, it was getting back into work, and it was like, all right, well, hey, this is the kind of numbers we've seen with a handful of clients. This is the real numbers. This isn't just the YouTube guys sharing some, you know,
What you
not
could do with
100%.
the
Yeah,
potential of what you could do. You actually did
exactly.
it, and now you had the
Yep.
tangible proof. I love that.
Yep. And we started talking, started making the arrangements of what does that look like? What do we need to have? What about this? What about that? Like I said, I had a union job. I had good money. The best insurance, what I started saying as far as looking into the other areas, I could tell you probably 12 different businesses, union mills, non-union manufacturing plants, all these places in my area, what their insurance plans are, because I connected with each individual. Like, hey, what's your insurance? How much are you guys paying? Ah, man, this is what mine is. You got to come over by me. You know what I mean? Like, I did the work. It was
Mm.
not just some leap of faith, like, let's see what happens. Like, we made sure we had the information. We looked to God for those answers. And every single time I said, all right, well, just hold off. I'll put it on the back burner, just like I did all the other years of saying, hey, we're going to do it. Nah, life is busy. I can't do that. And God, every time, man, he opened up a door and was like, no, like, here's an opportunity. It
You know what's crazy is what you just said. So the next question I was going to ask you because you mentioned Dave Ramsey is Dave Ramsey always talks about a person when they decide they're going to get out of debt. It's a lot like when you decide you're going to leave your job, but when you decide to get out of the debt, he says there's a I've had it moment, and he screams it.
Yep.
I'm not going to scream it on here, but he screams, well, I've had it. Like he says it
Mm-hmm.
with like something happened in your life that made it so you had to say this. Like no more bullshit, and I'm not going to play around no more. We're not playing to play. We're going to play to win. And that's
Mhm.
your I've had it moment. And then that's when you're willing to step through the barrier of fear and get on the other side where all of the good things happen. But one of the things you mentioned, again, like I said, the more the stories come out, the more it is so similar. Because when I started my business, I was out there with a curve chef trimmer, but why did I have a walking boot on? Because I broke my foot the day after
Mhm.
I bought a truck to start the lawn care business. And like Rick was
Mhm.
saying, God will put a test in front of you to make sure that you actually want this thing that you say that you want. Now, Rick, in my case, it was break your foot the day after you decide something. In Rick's case, it was he got injured and then he went out and worked and figured the thing out and was like, yeah. So tell us about what it felt like when you and your wife came to the thing. And I like the fact that it's your wife and you. I didn't know what CR meant until you just said that. So Catherine and Rick CR Lawns, that's fire. But what was it like whenever you guys started to figure it out?
Uh, it was confusing. It was frustrating. It was the fear. But like I said, I'm getting into it with God opening up doors. I had three reasons of why I stayed at that full time job. Flexibility. Well, how much more flexible can you get running your own business? Like I
Right.
I make my own hours. Like that's okay. That's easy. Well, we started looking at the numbers. I was there for a reason. I made this much money. It provided what we were able to have. I was like, well, we got the opportunity to see that. Insurance. Okay. Uh, not to put it all out there, but basically the opportunity came to where we didn't have to worry about health insurance. Like that's taken care of. It's squared away. It's not this huge elaborate expense that I have to worry about. It's squared away in a way that only God can provide for. And it got those three things taken care of. And I literally had the conversation with God, and I got down on my knees and I said, I see you opening doors and I hear you talking to me. I am telling you right now, I am not going to listen to you. That is how scared I am of this opportunity. That's how afraid I am to screw this up. I was in tears on my knees. I said, God, please, I need you to tell me. I need you to tell me that this is the opportunity that we're supposed to be doing. And just like any other, story that somebody could say about having the Holy Spirit be present, that's what that was. Okay. I got my answer that this is an opportunity that God gave me to run this lawn care company. Okay. So within that transition, it actually has converted over to Catherine Rick, but it's Christ Redeems Lawn and Snow Maintenance. That's where we're at. This
Nice.
is God's company. I am running it for Him because of Him. Like there's obviously me and my wife, we did our due diligence. We did what we needed to do, what we're supposed to be doing to make sure we're maintaining and taking care of what He provides for us. But I would not have this opportunity if it wasn't for Him. So I couldn't figure out any other way but to switch it up and go with that. So Christ Redeems, like
I love it.
my background story of where I've been at, like you had mentioned about the reasoning I got that nickname of Ranger Rick and just allowed it to stay, uh, is for a purpose of an entire different lifestyle that I used to live
Well,
and
we'll leave that
converted
lifestyle
over.
where it is.
So yeah, and it's just what he's allowed me to do. Like you hear it all the time bragged about statistically. Like I grew up in Section 8 housing. I grew up with a single mom and multiple kids, like with my siblings, absentee dad. The lifestyle that I used to live, everything against me to where I would be happy if I made it past 25 years old.
I swear, bro, I felt the same way. Uh,
Bro, like that was an achievement. I was 18, 20 years old thinking that it was an achievement. Like if I live past 25, that'd be cool. You know, I can't explain it, can't put it into words. It's just, it is what it is at that point. But it, this, the national statistics, the worldwide statistics show that somebody with my background story is either going to be dead or in prison.
Mm.
And here I am on a live show with you, being able to share my testimony yet again because of God's will. Like, there's no other explanation besides saying that this random guy from Northeast Wisconsin is doing this because he pulled the trigger on an opportunity and got lucky. Like, I got lucky because God chose me. That's what my luck comes from.
Man,
Don't get me started, bro. Like, I am lucky because God chose me, just like He chooses every single one of you, regardless of if you want to, throw shade or whatever the case may be. Let's sit down and have a conversation and tell each other stories, because I guarantee we can go tit for tat, and you'd be like, "Oh, really? Like, you really lived that life?" I'm like, "Bro, I don't play with me."
yeah, swear.
I lived that life. I lived that life. And I'm not
Right,
saying
bro.
that boastfully. I ain't saying that boastfully. I'm saying, like, yes, there is a way out of it. Like, you
No
don't
doubt.
have to stay in it. It is a mindset. Pull your bootstraps tight and do everything else that you need to do. It's not as easy as it sounds, but it's not as hard as it looks.
No doubt.
It's
What's
hard.
going on, Chase? How are you, bro? My boy Chase Gallagher, CMG, is in the
What's up?
building. We
What's
got
up?
Hughes, professional lawn maintenance in the building. Kenny's Lawn Service, Hillside Irrigation, Roland Stremaine, I don't know, Rollins Tremaine. I think that's what that is. I don't know, but man, hey, I already knew this was gonna be fire, Rick. But I usually ask this question a little later. What is winning in life to you now? I want to talk about business here in a little bit, but what is winning in life to you now before we get to the business?
The a matter of being able to get my kids off to school, keep the lights on, keep the kids fed, do what we got to do, uh, as God sees fit, and continue to share my story. Like, you want me to go on another tangent, I can, but I'll keep it
However
simple.
you
Lights
want
are
it.
on, kids are fed, and I have the freedom to hang out with my wife and do whatever we want. Like, the time away from my family had been taken for years because of my selfishness, because of opportunities, that I had to take advantage of, whatever the case may be, that it was purposeful or not. I selfishly always took that time away from my family, and now I can be able to have that back and still provide for them. Like, are the jobs that we have as men in society, whether it's a husband, a father, or just another man in the community, is we have a duty to protect, preside, and provide. Like, we do what we have to do. We have to find ourselves in circles and environments to where we can be surrounded with like-minded individuals, where we can speak life into each other and fulfill that role.
Yeah.
I could go on a whole nother other trip of, what it means to be a godly man and all of these things, but a godly man does protect, provide, and preside. Like, a non-godly man provides, protect. You know what I mean? Like, no matter
Yeah.
what, those are the three things that we need to be doing. So I have that freedom to do that now. I was able to purchase a second vehicle for my business at the end of last year in December, so that way I can make that extra leap into the next step of growing the business and everything else. So it's just that spiral effect of what all of those things provide for you. That's what freedom looks like, is being able to take that time and invest it right back into yourself, into your family, and into the business.
No doubt. Look, man, that that was fire. The reason I wanted to ask the question, and I'm gonna start asking it earlier in these episodes about what a win in life is to you, is because so many people are placing importance upon having $1 million business or having all of this money. And it's like, yeah, you can't take money with you. I heard Denzel Washington say, you'll never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. You
Yeah.
can't take any of these things, money, materialism, none of that stuff with you, but you can leave behind a legacy. And that's what my whole podcast was on Monday about leaving a legacy life, living a legacy life. And you and I were talking about that on our call Thursday. To answer your question,
Mhm.
Spence, it was on Thursday that just passed. So it'll be next Thursday.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
you and I were talking about that. I want to talk about family a little bit when we towards the end, but to have the purpose of like finding a win in your life that we were saying the vehicle to wins in my life is my lawn care business. But I don't honestly, I mean, if I didn't do lawn care, I would do something else because the wins has nothing to do with this business. It has everything to do with my family, my daughters, my son, my wife, and protecting, presiding, and providing for them, like my man Rick said. But Rick, let's talk about business a little bit. One of the things you recently got into was, I think last year you got into snow removal, and me and you were talking, and you told me December was fire for you. So, how great was December snow removal for you?
Bro, I I just I see him. He's in the comments right now. Shout out to Ricky's Pro Lawn Service. We were just on the phone earlier today. I just told him like the goals that I had for the business and where I wanted to see it go. Like what we're doing now, I didn't anticipate for another couple more years.
Mm.
So it's just it's still mind-boggling and overwhelming in that good way of like, bro, I can't like I knew we were doing it, but I didn't realize we were doing it. Like we're making strides that is just yeah, man. I hired my full-time guy, my right-hand man. I hired my Captain Jack. You
It's
know,
funny how many people say that now. Captain Jack is like he's more famous than he even knows in our community.
yes, that's why it's like, no, you have to tell him he's got to show up to equip. He'll be taking pictures all day long.
Yeah, it
You
hasn't.
just set him up.
It has not been his fault that he hasn't been able to go. We
Yeah,
have
yeah,
things
yeah,
to do, and he's decided like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. But hopefully this year, we could figure out a way to get him there. I can't make any promises, but like I said,
yeah,
so many people are like, hey Mac, what do I have to do to get my Captain Jack? And I'm like, I mean,
hmm
know someone for 20 years, and then have them actually like you, and you like them, and y'all like to be around each other and work, and he shows up and doesn't call off and doesn't complain. Like Captain Jack is like he's a unicorn, and
yeah.
everybody would love to have a Captain Jack. So I'm happy that you got one. I know my man Ricky's Pro Lawn Service, he got a couple of great guys now. So
hmm
um but December snow removal, it has been good for you. What about the lawn care business this year? You said you bought another truck. So go over kind of like what you do with your business now as a solo guy, and then what the second truck, what your life has been like as a solo guy, and then what your plans are with that second truck. Because so I'm trying to start a second truck this year as well. So I kind of want to know. So anybody else who might be attempting to expand their business, whether it's by a couple trucks or just one truck, what are some of the things that you're anticipating?
Well, full transparency, I just want to put out there, uh, getting the second truck was a necessity for the winter season. I haven't hit that point to where it's mandatory for the spring and summer season, but that's where we want to get to.
Right.
So it's just forcing my hand to get there faster. Um, the ideal goal of what my spring and summer setup looks like is to have two guys in the truck. So that way we would just be running one. But with the current setup that I have, I've been running a 5.5 by 10 utility trailer. I got my Toro um, my ride suspension Titan that is 54 inches, so that works perfect on there. I got a couple string trimmers, got a backpack blower that I load up every week, every day, I should say. But then from there, that's it, keep it simple. Like I was just saying again, like outgrew that trailer before I bought it the October of 23, and before that lawn season it was over, I already knew I outgrew it before I even went full time in the business.
Mm.
But it was like I can make do. Like we'll grind it out, do what we got to do. There's more work that I can still do with that setup. One of the things that I consistently was having the conversation about these last couple of months, especially at Equip, was how much I've been holding myself back in the business. So it's looking at knowing what I can do with the business if I apply myself that much more. Because if I'm able to do this much work with this lack of drive during certain times of seasons and things along those lines, like what happens if I push myself all the way through that for the entire season? Like, why wouldn't I be able to clear that six-figure mark without snow season included? You
Right.
know what I mean? So that will be the goal for 2026, is that I'm going to clear that six-figure mark only in lawn care, and then have that on top of it. But what we ended up doing for 2025, like, that goal already is too small.
Yeah.
Knowing what I can do solo, what I did do solo in 25, there's no reason why that goal shouldn't be even bigger.
Well,
Like,
let's
it,
talk about that a little bit. But you gonna say something? My bad. I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off.
no, no, have at her, have at
I,
her.
I want to, because most people, I forget the actual statistic to it, but it's something like 90% of the lawn care companies that are out there are solo or two man crew type deals, right? So we all got to deal with some stuff, but the people who watch this and listen to this are either going to start, or they're brand new, or they're within their first 3 years. For you to be solo and then go on to making six figures solo, and you've only been full time for a year and a half, you have to understand this. He left his job a year and a half ago, and then
April
made
of 2024.
six figures almost immediately. And I think that that is more inspiring to people than people hearing about some $1 million business anywhere in the country,
It
because
should
it's
be.
not as relatable for someone to get to $1 million. Everyone probably could do it. I ain't trying to limit anyone in their beliefs on what they could achieve. But at the beginning, almost everyone is like us. And everyone is dealing with some sort of struggle, whether it is knowing what a CRM is and actually using one, getting on Google, um, having route density, having your routes routed in a way that promotes your route density, right? Knowing the different marketing tactics. So you found success in this relatively quickly as a full-time provider. So what are some things that you've used that help you to be successful, Rick? How do you stay organized, that type of stuff?
You have to get a CRM, and you have to have YouTube downloaded on your phone. Like, to have YouTube and have that at your fingertips, to Google, to YouTube, anything and everything, like, somebody's already made a video on it. Learn from them. That's what
Mm.
I was stuck in the, what do they call it? The over analyzing, more or less, for all of those
Analysis
years.
paralysis.
Yes, that's it. I was stuck in that for years. Like, I purposely would find a reason to put the company on the back burner years ago, because it's like, oh no, I want to get involved with this. I want to do that. I want to be present here. I can't do it because of this. Like, the schedule just won't allow it. But once I made sure that I allowed it, we made sure that it happened. But just those two things, I personally use Jobber. So whatever you want to use out there, but you have to get something in place to make yourself be a professional. You have to stand out from all the chucks in the truck,
Quickly,
because
if you are looking
dude,
for CRM, he's mentioned Jobber. I'm a Jobber ambassador. I have a code down in the show notes in every YouTube video and on my link tree at Mac underscore landscape. And you get a 14-day free trial as well as an exclusive discount if you decide to sign up. And you can also take cards on file, which is absolutely paramount in our business. Rick, continue.
so just those two things, using a software and using YouTube, and getting your butt off the couch and actually doing some of the work. Everybody knows that it takes a hustle and a grind. You got to start somewhere. So if you got to make that $20 flyer just to make something happen, I'm not going to hold it against you, unless you sit there with that $20 flyer. If you don't make another move after that, then I got to harp on you. It leads a little bit into that quote you mentioned
Yeah, I
of
was
where
gonna say
my
that. We'll save that quote for the end, but I
we'll
I
save
was
it
gonna
to the
say
end.
that it definitely does, bro. Because
It does lead into
I
that,
almost
yeah.
said it just now. I ain't gonna say it. We'll let you know what that is though. But when you first start out, it is absolute. He's right, man. You're not gonna know some stuff, but need to learn. And then we'll tell you what this quote is later. My
Yeah,
bad.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, no, you just got to do the work. You got to get out there. You got to learn what it is to pick up mulch. You got to talk to the other guys. You got to get down to the site for where whatever your local place is to get mulch or soil or rocks or whatever the case may be, and just get the flow of things. Like, even if it's just a side hustle and you're talking doing 5 lawns for an entire summer, that's fine. Just start doing it so you can learn, and then you start slowly getting and build into it. So many guys just want to, and I'm not saying it as a knock, but so many guys just want to be like, you know what, I'm going to quit. I'm going to buy the truck. I'm going to buy the mower. I'm going to buy the trip. Hold up, man. Slow
Yeah.
down a little bit. Slow down a little bit. Do some research. Don't sit in it too long, but learn the ins and outs of it. The work is easy. That's the easy part. That's why we fell in love with it, because it is an easy part. But once you start learning what the small business part of it is,
Yeah.
what it takes to get an LLC, how much insurance costs, that's what holds everybody back to being a chuck in the truck, because they're not willing to take that leap, but they've already invested so much into it. Do those things in tangent together, not let me be out here full time and then go into that. Like, slowly build into that. Use that full time job to help finance the business.
Bruh.
Like, that's
That's what I say, bro. Because boys be like, they hit me up. Hey Mac, I'm ready to quit my job. You got a Ford F-350. What do you think about it? I'm like, hold on, bro. Hold on. I'm in a decade in, homie. Like you
yep,
can't
yeah,
go on the internet, whatever social media platform it is or podcast or whatever, and compare yourself to people who've been in the game 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years. I'll never forget this, Rick. When my wife and I, our mind started to change, right? We started to get around people that were outside of our normal circles, right? People who had
yeah.
accomplished things, people who were older than us, people who were business owners. And one time we was at this couple's house. They invited us over. My wife worked at a bank. The lady worked at a bank. She was 24 years older than my wife, and her husband was like 28 years older than me. So they invite us over, Rick.
Mhm.
We go over to the house. We have fried chicken and had a couple libations, and we were having a good old time, right? And when we leave, my wife was like, man, she was basically comparing us to them. And it was like, nah, they've been married for 30 years. Like, no, I said, we can't compare ourselves in our 20s to people who are in their late 40s and early 50s. And so many people get on the internet and they see my homie Fullerton with the dope truck and all of that. I know I'm telling you this because I was one of them. Now, I didn't have good credit
Yep,
to be able to go finance these things, which was good because
yep,
I would have done the dumb stuff. Now, I ain't calling the people dumb, but you think that I'm going to get this mower, I'm going to get this truck, this trailer, all this equipment, these racks, and all of this stuff and be set up how Mac is set up, or set up how Rick is set up, or set up how Fullerton is set up. And people are just going to call me. And that's not what happens. It just ain't. You have to learn how to get yourself seen. You got to get on Google. You got to create a Facebook business page. Like you got to post things. You have a social media platform on all of the biggest platforms so that you can get your name out there. So I'm happy that you said that. Like, hold on, bro. Hold on, sis.
hmm
Just just get you a 21-inch push mower for $300 at a grocery store like I did. I got mine from Sam's Club, Rick. And I
there
got
you
to
go.
it, bruh. I got to it, and then
I
I
got
seen
mine
that I
used
liked
from
it.
the neighbor.
Yeah, bro. So pump your brakes. Don't bite off more than you could chew, and give yourself. We want to get to stress-free lawn care and snow removal, not stressful lawn care and snow removal. And you know what gives us a lot of stress in business? Having payments, man. I don't got no payments except for my trucks. I got two trucks. One
Same.
payment is like $900. The other one's like 420 or something. Other than that, every mower's paid off. The Salter's paid off. The plow's paid off. My shop it. We pay rent there, so I don't owe anything on that. Every piece of equipment within my shop is paid off on my side. I don't know about Piper's, or he has very low debt too. But it's just People get into it and they think it's all glitz and glamour, and you find out real soon when a customer comes out and tells you, "Hey, you say 40, this guy said 25." And what do when you're brand new? You're gonna say, "I'll do it for 25." At least that was what I did. So yeah, Rick, where do we go from here? I don't
Well,
even remember where we
I
was.
no, I wanted just to jump off of that as far as the aspect of having everything paid off and everything. I'm in the same boat. My trucks, two trucks now, are the only things that I owe money on as far as the business goes. Everything else is paid for in cash. And that's where with that, so you have a very much larger setup than I do when it comes to the snow equipment, but you started from somewhere to get there. You got the 10 years in. Okay. Everybody wants to buy that Salter you got now because it will make job easier. I can tell
Yes.
you right now, this year I am still grinding my off. Okay. Last year I had almost approximately 200,000 square feet worth of plowable uh, lot areas between commercial and residential that I had to take care of. Every inch of it got salted with a 100-pound capacity walk behind pusher. Okay. This year I upgraded to the smaller 4.4 cubic yard tailgate spreader that just literally just plugs into your cigarette lighter. You turn it on and it pushes it out for you. It was great until it broke. And then I spent the last 2 weeks with it down, waiting for parts to come in, doing all of that back to being used with a push spreader and by hand. Like, you have to start somewhere. Don't go out and get all of that big equipment. Start with the $300 spreader. Go to Marketplace and find the $40 one. Like,
Yeah.
start off small. Use what you got around the house. Like I said,
Especially if you
it,
don't have the accounts already. Go ahead,
yes,
Rick.
that too. Yep. Yeah, because everybody wants to put themselves in the like, don't get me wrong, like it would be great to upgrade all of this stuff, but I can be content. Like, I was willing to start off with the 21-inch push mower in the back of a Chevy Tahoe.
Mm.
Okay. Then I was perfectly capable of just borrowing an incomplete lawn care setup so that way I could do more properties. Okay. Now that I am on my own, I still need help in certain areas, but I don't have to do it this like I am proof right here. I am so far behind on making content for social media. It's unbelievable. But because of this, I will guarantee everybody I will make a video and post it up on YouTube and Instagram of my setup and show you that it is more than capable of taking care of plenty of properties and more with little. You just got to be willing to do the work. Like, yes, all of that stuff makes our lives that much more easier and it makes it more efficient, makes us look more professional, all of those things. But I can tell you that my customer service and the quality of work that I make sure that I leave behind, that's why I don't pay for any ads.
Me
As
either.
far as social media ads, Googling, I paid for a company last camp 2024 to do the SEO stuff for my Google My Business page. I used them for a year, and all the work that the back end work that they did is still working. Still working. I don't have to do anything else except for making sure I'm maintaining my Google page. I should do more of it. Don't get me wrong. That's a whole nother conversation to go into. But as far as the Nextdoor app. I do it twice a year for fall cleanup and spring cleanup with running an ad for 2 weeks. It cost me like $80. So 100 less than $200 a year I spend on those types of ads. Otherwise, it's all the local marketing stuff, sponsoring a youth team, getting behind some of these youth programs uh, that you can just throw a couple dollars at and they'll put your name on a flyer like as a sponsor. Like, that's what I want to be within my community. I don't need to be paying for Google ads to get there. The
Right. No.
growth that I've had this far is on manageable already. Like,
Yeah,
it,
bro. Yeah.
I'm the slow build that I'm making, it's more than enough. You just have to do the work and make sure you're doing the work the right way. Once you get to a certain level, then I would push you to do all the extra things in marketing. But again, like you said before, the people that are going to listen to this conversation are the ones that are thinking about starting or just started, and there's more than enough people out there that are pushing you to spend the $3,000 on an ad campaign and
No, hell
doing
no.
the every like there. You ain't gonna get me to do it. I can
No.
tell you every flyer that has gone out, I've either pinned it up myself or attached it to the door, like whatever the case may be. I'm still in the grind mode, and this is where I'm at. Like, you can do it without getting stuck in it.
Yeah.
I,
So
I can ramble on, man. That's
no, it's
that's where
okay.
I'm at.
So my man Chris with those lawn service, he said, how long did you wait to go to an LLC? Me personally, I waited a while. A LLC just an LLC separates you from your it separates your business from your personal assets. So if something was to happen in your business and you have an LLC, they would sue the LLC, not your personal assets like your own home and things like that. As far as I know, don't quote me on that. I'm not a tax professional or anything like that. But I waited, I want to say like 3 years before I did it. I was a sole proprietor. What you absolutely have to make sure that you do have though is insurance. If you're a sole proprietor, make sure you have insurance and that and that you know the rules of your insurance, right? You don't want to be climbing up on roofs if your insurance doesn't cover that. My insurance right now doesn't cover climbing up a ladder to cut down trees. So we don't climb up ladders. We got extension for our pole saws, right? So to do things like that. So make sure you have the proper insurance. But if you have a house, if you have assets that could be taken. There's no reason to wait to get an LLC. I think you can do it free. My dumbass paid LegalZoom like $400 or something to create my LLC for me. But I know you can do it on IRS.gov, I believe, and do it for free. My wife made one for the real estate stuff that she wants to do. So it's not hard, but uh, again, LLC separates your business from your personal assets so that if you get sued, no one can take your home or something like that. But talk to a professional when it comes to that stuff. That was one of the questions. The other question was, uh, what was this guy? He said, can we explain more in depth getting seen? He posts business cards at the local stores. Facebook door knocking. I'm still stuck at 5 clients, but hope to see a better reach this year. So, all right, those 5 clients. Rick, I'm gonna handle this real quick, and then I want you to give your opinion. So, you got 5 clients right now. I want you to do something whenever you start out. If you already have these clients, and you know going into 2026, you got these clients. You got five, and you get to those five. I want you to do 9 rounds. There's 9 rounds. There's 5 rounds. There's probably more arounds as the numbers go up, but I only do fives or nines. And so what that is if you have your 5 houses, at those 5 houses, I want you to knock on the doors directly next door to them. The two that we're doing nine. So the 2 houses directly next to the house that you're doing, and then the 5 houses across the street from that house at all 5 of those houses, and go up to him and say, "Hey, what's his name? RS. I'm from RS Lawns. I don't know your actual name. I'm from RS Lawns. We take care of this house right here. If you ever need any service, here's what your price would be." And boom, you can get business cards or door hangers and write that price on the back of there. And every week that you go around to those 5 houses, place those things on there. And when you get one of them, you're gonna do the exact same thing with that house. The 2 houses next to it on its side and the 5 across the street. And that should help you get some new clients. As far as getting on Google, that is 100% free. But then you do have to do some work to make sure you're SEO friendly. You have to put pictures up there. You gotta put a hashtag of your area, because whenever someone Google's lawn care in my area or whatever service you provide in my area, you want to pop up. And if you don't hashtag I live in, I'm gonna just say Pittsburgh. Hashtag Pittsburgh lawn care. So now that's going to help Google recognize what this is, where it is, and then it'll help to boost you up the thing. And then reviews. If you, once you get on Google and you do great work for someone, I know Rick has a lot of reviews. You do great work for someone, send them a link so that they can give you a review, and make sure you tell them we want 5-star reviews. If I didn't do a 5-star review worthy job, give me another chance. Tell me how I can improve so that I can earn a 5-star review. All right. And I'm not going to say everyone's going to give you a 5-star review. I got some idiot gave me a 1-star review, said I didn't call him back. I'm going to blame my man, Max Moen, because people keep saying he's me. And I'm like, no, I got a K. You know what I mean? But Rick, um, for getting seen and getting new customers, what were some of the things that you did whenever you started out? And I know when you went full time, you needed to get those new customers. So what was your process on getting new customers?
Well, as far as just looking at it in the sense of where he's at, everything you just said, obviously, and and then some. You go into ex- detail with that kind of stuff, but that's a whole nother show. There's more than enough content out there for that. But in this case, the thing that comes to mind for me is just a matter of whether you have a computer at home or not. Like every well, I'm assuming every local library that I know of has free use to the internet and a computer. Okay, get on there and use Microsoft Word and make up a decent flyer. The one thing that holds me back from that type of marketing is how professional it needs to be. Okay, just make sure it looks good, and you can print as many as you want off. I've done it 100 times to where gone down to Walmart or the dollar, whatever I can get colored paper. So that way, I got a yellow piece or whatever. It's not just a plain white piece of paper, and print all of that stuff, information that you need. Keep it vague. Don't have it have absolutely every single detail on it, and just start handing that out. Do that your 9 rounds, your 5 rounds. When you have 5 clients, that means you have more than enough time to do 20 rounds.
Yes.
If you're not doing 20 rounds with only 5 clients,
Do you want to win?
I, I,
We want you to
yeah,
win.
like absolutely,
We
you
want
know,
you to win. So again, 50 rounds if you have to. Because
yes,
here's the thing, you want more customers. What are you going to do to get them? Because
mm-hmm.
people could want more customers and sit their ass on the couch and then complain and moan. And I'm not saying you doing that, RS. Clearly, you're here because you want to be better. And so, if you want
Facts.
to be better, man, get out there, put those feet to the pavement, knock on them doors. Because here's the deal: someone's perception of you online is going to be completely different if you walk up on that, knock on their door. Hello, Miss Jenkins. My name is Cornell. I work for RS. I own RS Lawn Care. We mow your yard, your neighbor's yard over here. Um, we've been in the business for a while. We're looking to expand in this area. Uh, if you would like a quote, I could give you an estimate right now. And if you're still doing things on paper, fine. I would get a CRM. Again, we mentioned Jobber earlier. I have a link for that if you would like to try that. But if you could send somebody something quickly, right? This ain't listen. This is the tortoise wins the race at the end. But it to get the customer, it's the first person. So if you see someone's yard, you're driving around, you see someone's yard looks out of order, man, knock, get out, knock on the door, leave a card. If it's in an area that you want to work in. But yeah, Rick, that quote we talked about earlier. He said, "I want to win, and my dream is to give this to my two boys in the future." That's fair. I love that, man. That's good. You got to have vision, and I like that vision. But you had mentioned the quote earlier, Rick, that you told me it was your you explained the quote to us and who told you the quote and how it correlates to what we were talking about earlier.
Okay, just I'll make it quick. So a little backstory on it is part of it, how it continues to affect me year after year, is the simple fact of I enjoy getting older. It's always a big deal for women of, turning 30, 40. Guys deal with it too. Don't get it twisted. Exactly. Like as we creep up to that 40, 50, like to me, I'm excited. I'm ready for it. Like, I enjoy getting older because I know what's awaiting for me at the end of my life. Like, I'm taking full advantage of these things now. Okay. So that's why this continues to affect me. But the reason it kicked off was because in my early 20s and things along those lines, including my middle 20s into my lates, that I continued to make poor decisions. Okay, that's just putting it lightly. That's putting it as nice as possible for the gram. Like, and my aunt in particular, my aunt Denise, shout out to her, and my uncle Jim. They're very supportive, loving, like second parents for me, the whole 9 yards. But during a season of my life to where I was really screwing up, like to where family members, you wouldn't blame them for turning their backs on you, type of thing, because of how stupid you were being. Like, I screwed up a lot of stuff. But she was supporting me. We were walking through it. They were actually driving me around. We were looking at different things. And she explained to me that it's okay. You're still young yet. You're figuring it out. I'm always going to support you until you turn 30, and then I'm going to support you and start judging you. Okay? That's where the quote comes into play. I will always support you, but once you turn 30, that's when I'm going to support and judge. You got to accept it. So at 28, that's when me and my wife got back together. I bought my house because that's a whole nother conversation about my family dynamics. We got a double blended family here in the Schafer household. But when I turned 30, it was like, all right, I got married that year. We have a house. We're doing the all American dream of, wife, house, kids. Then we started transitioning into having dogs and the whole 9 yards. Now this little, Cape Cod is completely full to the brim. But that aspect of having the support of your loved ones, but knowing that you still have to accept it for when they say that they're going to judge you for particular reasons. Okay. And it's the same thing that we should all be holding each other accountable. If you're not surrounded by a group of men or women, but talking to the guys directly here now from the heart, that if you're not surrounded by a group of guys that you can speak life into and allow them the space to speak into your life, then you're not surrounding yourself with good enough people. Plain and simple. Like, we need that type of support. Like, rather it's making up your own group of people to meet on a regular basis, finding a group that already exists. That's a whole nother conversation when it comes to the church that I'm involved with, the community that we've built, the ministries that I'm involved with there. I will always push the sense that God is great, God is good, and He is a redeemer. And I can go on and on, but we also need to do the work ourselves in order to ensure we're taking care of what He blesses us with. Otherwise, eventually, those blessings are going to come scarce. It, a whole nother thing. But surrounding ourselves with those people that we can speak life into each other with, and knowing that they're doing it out of love. They're doing it from the grace that God gives us. They're doing it out of the forgiveness. So having my wife's my aunt speak that into my life led me to be able to be back with my wife. It was the sense of, once I started that path of knowing that, okay, this is what she was talking about. Like, sky's the limit, man. Like,
Yeah.
that's there's
Well,
no reason we should be stopped at where we're holding ourselves back at.
I love that. I wrote that quote down because I specifically asked you after that quote, like, "Yo, do you want to come on the show on Wednesday? Like, I
Yeah.
don't have a guest yet. You know what I mean? But I just thought that was such a good quote for someone, because when you're young, you mess up a lot. In
Hmm.
your 20s, you make a lot of mistakes. When you get to 30, it's time to start correcting those mistakes. I know people who are 40, 50, 60, and they still making the same mistakes they was making when they was 12 years old.
Oh
And that's
yeah.
what she meant by that. And when we mentioned earlier about the $20 guy, And it's like, yeah, we're everyone starts out and they think, hey, I was making, in my case, $13 an hour at one job and $18 an hour at the other job. So if I do $30 mowing, that's more money than I just didn't realize everything that went into it. So I'm gonna use Aunt Denise's quote where she said, look, man, when you first start out, we ain't no one's gonna judge you. Right? You will not be judged. You will be supported. I know for sure I'm here to support you. I know Rick is here to support you. I got a whole lot of content to help support you. I'm always active in my DMs and all of that. And I will always support the people who believe in themselves enough to start a business. All right. But when you get to year 5, because that's what it took for me, when you get to year 5, we'll still support you. But now you're going to be judged too. Because if you are still in year 5 and you haven't had enough things happen that piss you off to be like, I ain't charging $30 or I'm not driving an hour, right? Unless you got 40 properties in one location, like then I would drive that hour. But I mean, to drive an hour for one house, cut that house for $35 and then drive back. If you're doing that in year 5, then you're gonna be judged because you should have learned by now. It took me 5 years before I was able to leave my full time jobs, the second full time job, and really go into this thing full force, um, because we were trying to take baby steps, like Dave Ramsey says. But when we got to year 5, it was like no more baby steps, man. Now we on the escalator or
Mhm.
even the elevator. You might be on a rocket ship or an airplane or a rocket ship by the time you get to year 5. And if you are still on the bike pulling your trailer that you made out of wood, like I seen a young man do on the internet before in year 5, then maybe this
Mhm.
just ain't the right thing for you. Maybe this particular thing ain't the right thing for you. But if you stuck something out for 5 years, there's something that's out there that God got for you to do. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode tonight. Rick, where can everyone find you? Oh, one last thing Rick and I was talking about was changing the family tree. That's another Dave Ramsey thing that I've heard. But me and Rick was talking about this on Thursday in our call. I have a private group called Winning Life University on Facebook. It's free to join. We also do team meetings every other Thursday. That has a fee to it, but we can get into that later.
That's part of that community aspect that you have to get yourself surrounded with. So don't hold up right there. That is the community you need to plug yourself into. If finances are the thing, then stick with the Facebook group. There's 20 other of them as well to plug into. But starting with Win in Life University, there's a reason you're here listening to this episode, and that's exactly what you need to be doing. Going from this episode over to Facebook, joining that one, and then figuring out what the next steps look like to join the Thursday night meetups, because this is exactly what we're supposed to be doing, is speaking life into each other and growing. And I can tell you right now that between this group and the other group that I'm involved with, shout out to those guys, to Brad and Ricky and Naomi, like we're holding each other accountable. Okay, like if it wasn't for those two groups, there is no reason that I would have ever expanded the way that I did, because I would have continued to hold myself back even more so than I did with all of that support. So you have to get yourself plugged into those types of groups that are going to speak life into you. And there's a reason that it's called Win Life University, because it's backed up by consistent life bringers. So don't
Nah,
don't hold short. Like that, there's a reason that you were put that program put into place, because it's guys like you that are leading the charge for the rest of us to come in along and do what you're doing. Because I can tell you right now, like I thank you, sir. Like that's what it
nah.
comes down to, bro. Like where I wouldn't have an every Thursday meeting if you didn't have yours. I would still be doing it every other week with the other group. Like you are allowing other guys to come in. We got Spence. He's blowing up the YouTube comments here, taking care of everybody
Yeah,
in there
for
for
sure.
us. Like He's a light bringer, bro. Um, we got Marcus Tate. He's always blowing up the Instagram comments. Like, he's a light bringer. And when you can get yourself surrounded by multiple light bringers, bro, that's what this
Swear.
is about.
And what we was talking about in the call was how our lives were so similar. But I said to Rick, think of all of the things that had to happen for us to be here. I've mentioned this plenty of times. The 1 in 4 trillion chance for you to be born. I think it might even be more astronomical than that, because there was a 1 in 4 trillion chance each one of your parents would be born, and then they had to meet, and their parents had to. I ain't gonna get into all of that. It's like quantum physics and things like that. But from the time that Rick decided to start his business and go full time in it, the time that I decided to start my business, work it for 5 years, then go full time in it, everything from that point on is when the family tree changes. When you first start something, the people around you might think you're crazy. But once your tree starts growing up and starts producing fruit, then you become an example of what could be done for your family and the people who are around your atmosphere. And me and Rick was having this wonderful conversation just about how the changing the family tree and all of the things that are going to happen now and in the future, not just for our own families, but for the world. Because who knows what is spawned from you making the decision? Whatever the biggest decision in your life is for you to start something that maybe you've never dreamed you could do before. And think of all of the benefits that the people who love, care for, appreciate, admire, all of the wonderful adjectives that they feel about you. You made them feel like that because now you feel better about yourself because you started something and now you know what the future holds. And I just think that's a dope thing. But Rick, now, where can everyone find you if they want to get in contact with you?
YouTube, I'm at CR Lawn Main, Main. I have a couple videos posted there. Not something that I've touched in a long time. Like we talked last week, that's actually one of my goals that I'm setting for 2026 is to make sure that I get some content put out there. I'm not trying to be a YouTube influencer. I'm not trying to get brand deals. Maybe one day, but that's not something I have in play. I just want to continue documenting my journey, my growth, and sharing the things that I learned just in case somebody comes across a video of mine, but they didn't come across Brian yet. A video of mine, but they didn't come across Max Landscaping yet. Like, it, there just needs to be that much more of us out here, so that way they can find the big community. Talk about Equip Expo. Like, there's still a lot of guys. I have not found anybody in Fox Valley, the Fox cities in Oshkosh, Nina Menasha, Appleton, Green Bay, Coconino of Wisconsin within, a 30-mile radius of me that I've met going to Equip Expo. The guys that I still talk to are like, no, I just heard about it last year.
Ain't that crazy?
What are you talking about? Oh, I've been telling myself I'll go all, one of these years. And I'm like, bro, like, I was saying that too. I've gone 3 years now, but now that I'm full time, like, it's guaranteed. Like, the
Yes.
customers know in I started putting it in my newsletters in May and June that that particular week of October, nothing is getting done. Nothing. Not a single thing, because I am gone. Maybe one day, this next year, now that I got my Captain Jack, he'll stay behind and keep going, getting some work done. But other than that, it's just a matter of, I will skip out on that revenue for that. But so that's YouTube, Instagram. Follow me at CR Lawn WI for Wisconsin, and follow me there. Shoot me a DM. Ask the questions that we didn't get to that were in the chat. Whatever the case may be, like, I am in it to win it. I am a light bringer. I am part of the crew for a reason. I'm coming full force in 2026, making sure that I do an even better job, with everything than I did in the previous years. And last year was great. So, like I said, I love getting older because that's just how much more wisdom and maturity I'm putting underneath my belt to get away from the lifestyle that I had and get that much closer to God and the things that He allows me to do. Rather it's leading a men's ministry, volunteering in a student ministry, getting involved in a um, networking group. There's all kinds of stuff that we're out here too busy to do, but we got to do them. So find me on Instagram and YouTube, and we'll get connected and plugged into that way.
My man, I appreciate you coming on the show to share your story, Rick. It's always fun talking to you, and I will see you next Thursday, right? Not this
Yes, sir.
Thursday, but the following Thursday,
Correct.
as well
Yep.
as my man Dom, who's recovering from COVID. My man Spence Crisco, and all of our other members. Those just happen to be the guys who are in here tonight. So again, if you are interested in being a part of our community at Winning Life University, there is a free Facebook group. You can get links to that in any of the podcast show notes. If you're watching live right now, I just put a link to it down in the comment section. But we do team meetings every other Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we talk to one another about our dreams, our goals, things that are holding us back, things that each one of us are doing that could help one another. And guess what? Everything ain't for everyone. So when you come to here, uh, maybe you're doing something that could help us. The same way we might be doing something that could help you. So being involved in those communities where you're always under the light, right? It's dark out there when you're alone and by yourself. But when you got brothers and sisters who are here to support you, man, it's like you got big spotlights on you all the time. And there's always a powerful person up there watching you who wants you to do well because that's why he put you here so that you could succeed, prosper, live an abundant life like Rick and I are trying to strive to get to so that we could change our family tree. Maybe you grew up with one parent, a single parent like Rick and I did. Maybe you grew up and there was drugs and alcohol and people letting you down. All that, all of that's over now. You get to change and decide now. Start a business, change your life, change your family's life, become a light bringer. Each one teach one. Leave the ladder down for someone as you climb up, and then put your arm down there and help them up. Because life is so much better when you got people holding flashlights with you, right? We light bringers. We ain't just out here being negative and doing dark things. We want to win in life, and that's what it's all about. I appreciate you coming on the show, Rick. As always, stay warm up there in Wisconsin.
Absolutely.
Don't you know?
Wisconsin. Hey, much love, no stress, and God bless.
My man, that was fire, and he's out. Peace.
Peace.
Hey, look, man, I hope that you enjoyed tonight's show. If you did, do me a favor, share it with someone. Or if you're listening on the podcast later, do me a favor and leave a 5-star review. My man, I think Spence Crisco put it in here. Cedric used to say on my old show, Lawn Care Power Moves, what he got from Bomani Jones. If you leave a 4-star, I'm inclined to think you're a hater. That is from Bomani Jones and my homeboy Cedric. If it's not a 5-star review, just DM me Mack_landscape and let me know how I can improve and make the show better for you and the people who watch and listen each and every week. If you ever want to get in contact with me, there's a couple ways you could do that. Mack_landscaping 412 on Instagram is probably the fastest way. Email is macklandscaping412 at gmail.com. And yeah, I got a meetup coming up here March 21st, which is the week after St. Patty's Day. So hopefully that don't mess up any of your travel or anything if you do that for that. But the meetup is 100% free. I'm pretty sure I have locked down the location, but I will put that information out here probably next week after I go down and talk to this establishment that has a gigantic parking lot. Last year we had 116 attendees from 5 or 6 different states. We had 20 to 25 different setups and all types of equipment. Food will be provided for you as well as soft drinks, and we will have a cash bar available if that is what you are inclined to do. But it is March 21st, 2026, which is a Saturday. We have a couple hotels. We got the Hampton Inn, which is a couple minutes from the place, and also the Holiday Inn Express, which is a couple minutes from the place. If you want to come in on Friday, we'll be doing a meet and greet at Buffalo Wild Wings, talking, eating some wings, and all of that. Pay for your own self when you come to that. I ain't got a lot of money to be doing this. I pay for everything on my own. So, but it's for you. Again, it's the community friendly event. Bring your family, and my wife and my kids will be there. It bring your setup, and it doesn't matter if you have a 20-foot trailer, a 16-foot trailer, a 12-foot, 10-foot, 5-foot Lowe's trailer, pickup truck, van, Chevy Tahoe, Cadillac Escalade, like my man Stripe City used to do. It doesn't matter, man. It's all about coming together so that you can see where you can go, or you can just try new things and see if this is for you. So I cordially invite you to come to this free event. Again, it's the 2026 Winning Life Meetup Service Business Showcase, and you don't have to be a lawn and landscape business to attend. You can be a power washer, you can be a roof cleaner, you can be a fence installer, you can be a car detailer, you can be a automotive repair shop, you can do trailer repairs or sell trailers. You could have the mulch. We have our girl Jamie come down. She owns J.A. Rudder, which is our aggregate supplier here that I use. If you have a storage facility and you want people can run their business out of storage facilities. Like, this is a place for business owners to come meet other business owners and potential business owners to meet actual business owners so that you can be inspired, motivated, and even educated to go out there and win in your life like all of these people who are in our wonderful, beautiful country of America are doing on a daily basis. But as always, I love you. I appreciate you. I wish you nothing but success. And remember, the creator created you to be creative. So get out there and create whatever you want in your life because you deserve it. I'm out. Peace.